Jen, you mentioned something that I think is a really interesting topic here because it's considering the parents as well as the children in the design of these games, and both in terms of intergenerational play of a game that I can play with my kids, or my kids can play with me, and we look at it, but also in terms of how you market these products. But if you guys could address those kind of issues, I think that's a really important area.
I think by having that systems-based game design approach, I do think that what you can often do is create something that can be engaging to a wider audience, to both the child and to the parent. So again, back to that sentence-making game, we designed it in a way that uses really fun and light vocabulary. So the sentences can end up being very silly and absurd. And at the same time, it can be challenging for both teens and adults because we've developed a lot of our intuitions and understanding about grammar by the time we're an early teen. And so actually we sometimes have adults struggle just as much, if not more, as teens. So it can be this really fun experience for them to explore this world together.
When you created that game, did you envision as much parent-teen play as you thought?
We actually didn't, no. We did see those as audiences. We saw teens being an audience as well as adults, but we didn't, it was a pleasant surprise to see how much they enjoyed the game together. Yeah.
All our research that we're doing now shows that Gen Z kids really want to spend time with their parents. That they value that time. It's one of the, if you ask them sort of what's your favorite thing to do, spending time with parents ranks very high. And we've got a generation of parents now that also grew up as gamers. So now it's not a generational disconnect, it's a connector between them. We're seeing a lot of people create content that either brings back IP from that parents grew up with so that it's familiar to parents, something that they easily accept and say, oh yeah, I'd love to play that because I remember it. It takes some adapting to make sure it doesn't look really old to kids or doesn't look unfamiliar to parents, but it's something that we're seeing a lot of people do. Sometimes it has to be asynchronous play. You can't always trust that the parent is going to have time to play right when the kid wants to play. So we're seeing a lot of people who develop games where the child takes a turn, the parent may take a turn when they're available or may contribute. It's a lovely Finnish company called Gigglebug that's doing games for parents and kids to play together, the goal of which is just to make each other laugh.
So I've dealt with intergenerational gameplay in two ways. So one is looking at a project and saying, is this something that we can make interesting to a parent to interact with on their own? And so as an example of that, one project we did, as I mentioned, had an art component to it. The result of the artwork that the child created could be turned into an interactive jigsaw puzzle as a payoff. So that puzzle had design scaling in terms of complexity. So for a young child, the puzzle pieces could be really big, a 2x3 grid of puzzle pieces. But a parent could slide a slider and make it an 81 piece or even more complex puzzle. We added rotation for the young child. Rotation's turned off. For the parent, they turn on rotation, and now the pieces are rotated and they have to be rotated back into their correct orientation. So that allowed the parent to enjoy the work product of the child making art, but in a way that was intellectually stimulating and challenging to the parent. I'm reminded, and I wrote it down because it's such a great phrase, when we are playing together with our children, the only way we can win is when they win too. And so there's the other angle that, for intergenerational gameplay is to build collaboration. And so, there's a lot of different ways to do it. It's not easy, but, one way is to look at it as a point of turn-based play as one approach, but also collaborative play. For example, the parent steers the car, the child controls the gas and the brake. And so they have to talk and work together to accomplish the task of getting the car through an obstacle course or to a goal. So look at your gameplay mechanics and decide how you can bifurcate them into two groups, one for the younger child, one for the adult, and allow them to collaborate together. Allowing the parent to reinforce the ideas of resilience, persistence, determination, in a child in a positive way is really important to having a successful intergenerational gameplay experience.